7 years and married for 3. We've had an amazing relationship. We rarely fought, had a great sex life, and really enjoyed spending time together. That's why this situation is so shocking to me and all my friends and family, and I desperately need some insight from the Reddit community. I had been decent friends with this guy for over 15 years. I attended his wedding with my wife, and they attended our wedding. They were a lot like us, and we got along easily, so in the past couple of months, we became best friends. The guy had recently gotten into exploring different types of psychedelic and methamphetamine drugs, mushrooms and MDMA. My wife and I had never tried them before, and the guy wanted to share his experiences with us. So we decided to try mushrooms. It was a magical experience and an overall positive one. That said, during the experience, I noticed that the guy was holding my wife's hand for a brief period, and that made me feel jealous. The next day, I expressed to the group my feelings, and the guy explained that holding her hand was not a romantic gesture, but that the drug allowed him to connect with her, and holding her hand was a way to demonstrate that he felt connected to her in that moment. I mentally wrestled with this concept, but came around to his way of thinking, because I saw this guy as my best friend, so I trusted him. I decided that I would see gestures such as touching and hand-holding as ways to connect to others without there being a sexual or romantic undertone. The next experience we had was with MDMA, which was a magical experience as well, for different reasons. That said, for the majority of the experience, I felt that the guy's attention was mainly on my wife, which made me feel excluded. I expressed the way I felt, but my thoughts were dismissed under the reasoning that I had just not taken enough of the drug. I saw the guy as my best friend, so again, I trusted him. Another time we tried mushrooms again. This time I had a better mentality about holding hands. Everything was going great, but at one point, the guy suggested that we all go to his bedroom to hang out on their bed. This made me feel uncomfortable, as I felt like he could have an ulterior motive. That, coupled with worrying about my wife because she was having a bad trip, I began to have a panic attack. I ended up calming down by taking Xanax, melatonin, and taking some deep breaths. Then we somehow still ended up on their bed. I remember that the guy had deliberately chosen to lay behind my wife and not next to his own wife. This caused me an immense amount of paranoia that made it so I couldn't go to sleep, wondering what he might try to do. I eventually passed out, so I don't know what happened the rest of the night. A week later, my wife and I attended a friend's wedding where we had a conversation with a few friends. I brought up the concept of swinging, as I got the vibe from this guy that he was trying to instigate that by bringing us all into his bed. My wife said it was all in my head, so I let it go. A week went by where we did other couple activities together. We went to a corn maze, we dressed up in couples costumes for Halloween. Then my wife and I celebrated our 7-year anniversary, which was wonderful. Then I had to go out of town for a week for work. On Monday, I wanted to Skype with my wife so she could witness me giving a present to their baby. When we connected via Skype, I saw that my wife was there only with this guy. My wife said that they all went out to eat with his wife, but she had to go home after because she had work in the morning. I thought that was a little weird that he decided to hang out alone with her, but because I saw him as my best friend, I trusted him. For the rest of the week, I noticed that my wife stopped texting and calling me as much. She seemed like she had all of a sudden become busy. The night before my flight left to go back, I get a call from my wife. She said that she has something important to tell me. She tells me that she has feelings for this guy and that they made out several times and she felt guilty about it, so she wanted to tell me. She told me that she didn't mean for it to happen, but that it just did. Then she said she doesn't want this to be a one-time thing because she feels a stronger connection to him than me and that she wants to be with him.
This, as my wife and I have had a great relationship, and there hasn't been anything I can think of that would make her want to leave. We had talked about how I wanted to have kids and that she didn't know if she wanted to, but I had told her that we could wait. Anyway, I used all my might to convey to her how much I loved her and that I didn't want to leave. I told her that being with a person in the beginning can feel new and exciting, but can blind you to whether or not that person is actually compatible with you. I also told her that marriage over time can lose the spark, and that we have to work at our marriage to get the spark back. I told her a laundry list of ways we could do so and practically bared my soul in the process. About 30 minutes into the phone call, I tell her to get on Skype because I needed to see her saying these horrible things in person to believe it. When the video chat was turned on, that's when I realized that this guy was in my house with her, listening to everything I said to her, which made me feel so violated because I told her things that I would never say in front of anyone else. I yelled at him to leave my apartment, but he refused to do so. I pleaded with my wife for her to reconsider, but her mind seemed to be already made up. She had planned this out ahead of time with this guy, and they had already told this guy's wife that they wanted to be together, and she had moved out of their house. So I told her, if this is what you want, to say goodbye to our future. Say goodbye to our hopes and dreams of getting the house we had planned on getting together. Say goodbye to the family that we were one day going to raise. And say goodbye to me, your best friend. I hung up and began to have a panic attack. This was my wife and best friend that I have spent every day with for the past 7 years, telling me that she didn't want to be with me anymore. We had a really great marriage, so it didn't add up. Not only that, but this guy is extremely obese. My wife is 100 pounds and this guy is like 400 pounds, so it's not like he's more physically attractive than me. I called some friends to meet me in my hotel because I needed support. They came and got me and helped me through this difficult time. I wasn't able to sleep that night, so I stayed up writing down all of the things that I wanted to tell my wife so we could work on our marriage, how I could try to do more to make her feel special, and that we could attend a marriage counselor and work on trying to get the spark back when it feels like it's not there. The next morning, I called my wife and told her everything that I had written down the previous night. I begged her to consider the wonderful 7 years we'd had together and that we could work on our marriage to have a future together. I really thought I was getting through to her, as she told me that she'd think about it, so I got on a plane and flew back. When I arrived, I received a text message from my wife that she won't be at our apartment when I get home, and that she has moved into this guy's house. I asked her if she spent the night there, and she said yes. Obviously, she had had sex with him, and this instantly broke my heart. She told me that she knows that what she's doing is being selfish, but that she needs to do what she feels is going to make her feel happiest. Then she asked for a divorce and told me we'll work out the details later. I told her that she can't end our 7-year relationship over the phone, and that if she wants to do this, she is going to have to meet me in person and tell me. She agreed and met me at a Starbucks nearby. We chatted for a while, and I tried to keep it as calm and as civil as possible, although there were outbursts of frustration and tears on my part. She told me again that the reason she wanted to be with this guy was because she felt that stronger connection to him. I told her that she felt that connection to him because of taking a drug, and reiterated how being with a new person in the beginning can feel new and exciting, but can blind you to whether or not that person is actually compatible with you. I also told her that marriage over time can lose the spark, and that we have to work at our marriage to get the spark back. I told her a laundry list of ways we could do so and practically bared my soul in the process. I told her how much I loved her, and that after 7 years of building a life together, that we should at least try for a week to see if we can make our marriage work for her. But alas, she was stubborn and had her mind made up. So we talked divorce details at a very high level, and then parted ways. When I arrived at our apartment, the place was a mess. All of my wife's belongings were gone. All of our memories, pictures, and anniversary gifts were randomly placed everywhere, staring at me in the face. She even left her wedding ring on the counter. And that's it, folks. That's how your marriage can get destroyed in a matter of a month. If I could have done anything differently, I would have never tried mushrooms in the first place. The only reason that I did is because I wanted my wife and I to have new experiences together so we could keep our relationship fresh and continue to be in love. I feel like if I had never encouraged us to do them, she would have never been in a comfortable state of mind where she would have intimately connected with this guy. I also regret trusting this guy. I feel like he had an ulterior motive the entire time we hung out to overstep his boundary and be intimate with my wife so that he could persuade her to leave me. I trusted him because he came off as a genuinely good person, and we were the best of friends at the time. After everything is said and done, I want my wife to be happy. It's so hard to type this, but that means even if it's not with me. That said, I feel like this guy has manipulated her with drugs into this relationship, and it's not real. I feel like she is going to wake up one day and realize the grave mistake she made by destroying the beautiful relationship we had together. My fear is, by the time she realizes this, it will be too late, as I will have moved on. Not to mention, after she cheated on me with this guy, I'm not sure I could ever trust her again.
Do I blame the drugs for making her only think she's in love with this guy and it's all artificial and will eventually wear off? Or did the drug just allow her to be more open about what she and he really want? Is it both? Is there something going on in this situation that I'm missing, that a person from the Reddit community could provide me insight with? Edit. After reaching out to friends on social media, I had several friends contact me about this guy to tell me that he has previously tried to convince another friend's wife to leave his husband. He has also previously cheated on his wife several times during his marriage. Knowing that he has a track record of this behavior, I'm so mad that I ever allowed him to be near my wife. That said, I know I must also hold my wife accountable for her actions. It just breaks my heart, and I wish we would work on our marriage and restore the trust that is lost now. Too long, didn't read. My wife cheated and left me after having new drug experiences. I'm not sure if the drugs are to blame or if she is, or both.